英語聞き流し10分間、名作リスニング、英語テキストと MP3 ダウンロード、その他の物語は、ホームページよりご利用いただけます。88thpp.com 88thpp.com
I spent my teenage life at a privileged Catholic school. Most students came from wealthy families and some were famous. As a farmer's daughter, I belonged to the few non-wealthy students. I thought a farming family was regarded as poor and unsophisticated in this school, and tried to hide the fact that I came from one as much as I could. Every time I submitted the paper on which the parents' occupation should be stated, I put my thumb right on the word farming so that other students didn't see it. There was a famous long-standing chain of high-end chestnut snack stores in the city which chain name was the same as my last name, and one day, a student casually said to me, "Your family owns the chain, doesn't it?" While the chain and I happened to share the same name, we actually had no relation. But she sounded so sure as if everyone believed so. It was 3 years since I had entered the school and my concealing operation might have worked. It was possible that no one besides my close friends knew I came from a farming family. I felt confident I looked cool and sophisticated enough for them to think I came from that wealthy family. Hoping their misunderstanding would last, I didn't deny strongly and gave her an ambiguous reply. When I told my mother about it at home, she was very pleased and instructed me to keep them believing that way. I was walking toward the bus stop with my close friend after school one afternoon. When I cracked her up with my jokes and moves as usual, she said laughing, "You look like a peasant." And the next moment, she gasped and added, "I'm sorry." I wouldn't have cared if she had kept laughing, but her serious apology offended me. She remembered I was a farmer's daughter and thought her comment was inappropriate. I realized reference to a farming business required an apology, which meant she looked down on it. By the time I was a senior, I had grown weary of being a class clown just to be popular. I had tried everything to be cool but become doubtful if it was right to act someone else who wasn't real me. For seniors, the teacher asked attendants to a table manners class at a gorgeous restaurant one by one. Since some students were busy preparing for the entrance examination of universities and colleges, they were allowed to opt out of the class. I was one of them, and when my classmate behind me heard me answer not coming, she started giggling. Then she said to me, "Even though your family is a farmer, you'd better learn table manners." The girl next to her was also giggling and said, "That's what we shouldn't tell her." It was a wake-up call. All those years everybody had known my family was a farmer and laughed at me inside while I pretended to be cool. What I had been doing so hard for years was nothing. Since that day, I stopped acting a class clown and returned to my true quiet self. A couple of days later, in a class journal that all students would read, I wrote, "I'm a farmer's daughter. Yet, I have been to a high-class restaurant, and I do know table manners." There is a lake a few miles away from my new apartment, and I decided to go there for the first time. The local bus to the lake was surprisingly old-fashioned and worn out. It jolted along a mountain road, ascending higher and higher. The lake lay at the foot of the mountain, surrounded by the fresh green woods. Although I had expected it to be a popular recreation place for locals, it was quite lonely and quiet with only a couple of small spots to eat and shop. One of them was an Italian restaurant, and I had an expensive lunch there as a sole customer. The directory showed that there was a walk around the lake and I tried it. It got steeper and rougher as I walked on, as if I was climbing a mountain. The walk looked exactly like the one in my recurring nightmare, in which I walked along an ever-steepening path and ended up tumbling down the slope every time. I crawled along the walk on all fours so as not to tumble down. Fighting off a fear of heights, I finally got to a suspension bridge over the lake, and the view of the lake from there was breathtaking. On my way home, I mistook the road for the bus stop, and walked all the way home. It took 90 minutes and I was dead on my feet.
Audiobooks by Hidemi Woods. First audiobook, Japanese Dream by Hidemi Woods, on sale at online stores or apps. Second audiobook, My Social Distancing and Naked Spa in Japan by Hidemi Woods, on sale at online stores or apps. Apple Books, Audible, Google Play, Nook Audiobooks, 43 available distributors in total.
After the incident of table manners, I had closed a business of being a class clown at school. I had stopped making others laugh and hadn't accommodated their requests for jokes anymore. It yielded an immediate effect. I used to be the center of a circle of students, but they were dispersed from me at an amazing speed. It was in my senior year and the class was divided according to the course the students had taken. In the group of my close friends, I was the only one who took the science and mathematics course while the others took the humanities, which led me separated from them in the homeroom class. Coupled with this situation, I became a loner within a month. It wasn't so hard for me, though. After all, it was just I got back to my old days in kindergarten when I hardly spoke to anyone. But a difficulty arose when the school held an assembly. To gather at the hall, the teacher made us to form into a line in pairs at the hallway. The students made a pair with each friend and waited chattering and yapping merrily. I had no one to make a pair and was standing alone silently at the tail of the line. A mere 1 month ago, they would scramble for me to make a pair. I realized how easy it was to become unpopular and how much time and energy I had wasted so foolishly for superficial friendship, thinking back to my long-time effort to become popular at school. Although I was willing to be unpopular again, I couldn't help feeling empty. I tasted bitter loneliness when I saw a girl walking toward me from the head of the line. She stopped in front of me and said, "Would you like to go with me if you're alone?" She was the smartest girl at school who was somewhat shunned by other students because she was too earnest. I had known she was a big fan of my favorite band and I had once bought a sticker sheet of the band for her before. She had been so grateful for that and brought me all her albums of the band to let me make copies. Besides those occasions, we had barely talked to each other. And now, she broke my loneliness completely. While we were walking to the hall side by side, she gleefully said she couldn't believe I was standing alone without a friend, so that she made a pair with me. As for me, I couldn't believe the smartest girl sounded as if she looked up to me. Since then, we became best friends. She had everything I didn't have. She came from a rich family. Her parents were both doctors, and especially her father was a renowned doctor in the medical society. She was smart, nice, sincere and courteous to everyone, even to a bus driver. Compared to her graceful attitude, I looked stupid with a typical rebellious teenage behavior. I understood being cool means a person like her. Still, she always kept admiring me, even respected me for some reason. We shared passion for our favorite band and for study, as she was applying to a medical school and I was to the most famed university in the city. As I was influenced by her attitude, I noticed she cured my wickedness. She totally accepted my true self and was even making me a better person. I wanted to be like her, but soon I would be taught the hard way that I could never be. A month has passed since I moved in my new apartment. Although I've been vigorously unpacking, cardboard boxes have still occupied more than half the living room. My handmade soundproof wall has been completed only on one side of the walls in my bedroom/studio that borders on the next door. The positions of my furniture and instruments have been roughly decided for my studio. My old apartment was built on a light steel framework and had very thin walls. I was disturbed by all kinds of noise: rain, wind, cars, kids, neighbors, crows, helicopters, you name it. As my new apartment is built with reinforced concrete, it was supposed to be a lot quieter. It actually was, but wasn't as much as I had expected. Unknown clanging noise coming from some pipe woke me up for several times, or I heard footsteps form the room above or below. I had probably overestimated reinforced concrete. I know I should be content with much quieter surroundings here, but thinking about having gone through that hard and long process of the move, I want the kind of silence that I had imagined as a reward. I've been telling myself that it may get better when the whole soundproofing is done. Also, I shouldn't forget that there's no such thing as 100% satisfaction in this world after all.
Audiobooks by Hidemi Woods. First audiobook, Japanese Dream by Hidemi Woods on sale at online stores or apps. Second audiobook, My Social Distancing and Naked Spa in Japan by Hidemi Woods on sale at online stores or apps. Apple Books, Audible, Google Play, Nook Audiobooks, 43 available distributors in total.
英語聞き流し10分間、名作リスニング、英語テキストと MP3 ダウンロード、その他の物語は、ホームページよりご利用いただけます。88thpp.com 88thpp.com